I get knocked down, but I get up again. Never gonna keep me down.
I get knocked down.
I get up again.
Sipping the night away.
I drink a whiskey
Sipping
drink.
the
I drink a sour drink. I drink a lager
night
drink.
Your
I drink a-
timing's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Can you just come
I
in?
get knocked down. Yeah.
Guys, welcome to Real Awkward.
Welcome.
I'm Andy.
So much
Amanda.
awkwardness has happened in the first 30 seconds
Yeah,
of this
it was
podcast.
weird, guys.
Keeping it real.
I'm Andy.
Again, I'm Amanda.
I am Ashley.
We would like to tell everyone that so many times, guys. This is a very, 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 very special episode for us. This is our 100th episode of Real Awkward. Barbara Brown. If you
I'm
guys
gonna
don't know
put
what that
up-
means,
Sorry, continue.
nope. Just gonna say we've got some inside jokes. We've
Yep.
done some episodes. We've been doing this for 2 years.
What?
November was 2 years
What?
of the podcast.
That's 2 years of my life I
Oh,
can't
shit.
get back.
No, you can get it back. You just re-listen to the episodes.
Girl.
Yeah.
I want to put a post. I want to put like a poll up on the Instagram to ask if we should get Barbara Brown tattoos.
Oh, I'd do it.
Or at least a t-shirt.
I mean, you guys can get a t-shirt.
You or
You get. I'm getting
You
a
can
tattoo.
get a
You guys
tattoo.
get a T-shirt. So
I cannot have a banana and Barbara Brown on my body.
You know, yes, you can. You know why? Because I will have them. Too.
yep. Because
Yeah, but you have like 8 other
tattoos.
tattoos. I
Right.
cannot have only a Barbara Brown and a banana.
People will look
You
at
know
Ash
what?
and be like, "Why are you so
You can,
different?"
people will be like, "Why do you have those?" You can
and
be like,
que sera, sera.
"Yeah." You can be like, "I have a mildly successful podcast. I do what I want."
I have a mildly successful.
This is a conversation point.
Weird flex, but okay. I got a
I
mildly
mean, what?
successful
So you're gonna
podcast.
be like, "Oh," you can be like, "Oh, we did it for the podcast."
So we have to do a couple things here, okay?
What?
This is on our 100th episode. Number one, not to be cliche, but a huge thank you to anybody and everybody who's ever listened to our podcast.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, like we all goof around and stuff, but it's awesome to be able to do this. I have a lot of fun doing it, and I'm thankful that it's still fun to do, and I'm thankful that obviously somebody likes what we're doing
Right.
enough for us to feel like people are listening to
Yeah.
us.
Can we just take ourselves back to when we were so excited when an episode got double digits?
Oh yeah, when
right?
we get like, I think what our first one to get like 12, we were like, guys.
Yeah, because we would hit an episode the first early months, and it would be like 3 or 4 downloads,
And
be
it would
like,
be like
"Woo."
one was Andy, one was me,
Exactly.
one
So,
was
like,
Ashley on her
out of
phone.
the
our
six,
couple friends,
we
yeah.
knew that half of them were us.
Yeah,
That's the problem with what we posted up on our Buzzsprout, which sends it off to other podcasts. Is like it once you listen to it on your own, it counts as a listen. You're like, God damn it! Like,
well, I do
Yeah.
I do listen.
right?
Yeah, so do
but
I.
you kind of have to, right? Because on our episodes, we tend to have something we want to post, something we want to say, or a giveaway we're doing, or something that you have to go back. You have to be like, what did I talk about?
And
What did I
that's-
say?
That's hard because usually like
Right.
so I do a lot of like I do like the new episode posts on the Instagram.
Right.
And a little behind the curtain action. So like I do those. So usually I just post it and then like I'll be listening to the episode maybe a day later, 2 days later or something, and it'll be like, oh yeah, I'll post those pictures and I'll hear it. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Oh shit! I forgot.
I'm not going
I wonder
back.
how many people have listened to an episode and been like, I went to their Instagram and there was nothing.
Sorry.
Nothing. Amanda didn't do her job.
It's hard. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I'll listen to the episode before Amanda and I'll be like, okay, she hasn't posted the new episode post yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'll like send her the pictures or I'll like put something on the story that was like, oh, we said we were going to ask this question. Like,
It's hard. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is hard.
well, and sometimes it's like, yeah, especially if I don't listen to it for a couple days after I post the thing, it's like, well,
sorry.
I can't really go back. So.
You know, it's weird too, because like there's everybody has a podcast now. Literally, like there's millions of podcasts that you
I
could
have a
possibly
podcast.
listen to. Millions of podcasts you could listen to. And the fact that we literally have like thousands of listeners that have like clicked on an episode and listened to
Yeah.
stuff is epic. And
crazy to
and
me.
so I can see some things when we post our podcast up about like regions and stuff like that. I mean, it's international that we have listens. We have listens
Andy's
in
very much into the statistics
Yeah.
of where people listen to it.
yeah,
from.
like we have listeners in France, we have listeners in Japan, and there's like one from Russia, I think. We get like one click. We've got a lot from Britain. We have a lot from Canada. There's like one South American, which is very exciting about that stuff. No Australians. I'm so sorry, guys, but no Aussies enjoy listening to our podcast show for whatever reason.
I mean, it is what it is.
So first, so I want to do this, right? So it's our 100th episode. Very, very special for us to not only to get this far, because how many people probably start podcasts, they do 20 and they're like, dude, this didn't work. Or I didn't like this. We're not having fun. Friends or coworkers or whoever it is that start the podcast, they're no longer together or whatever, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
big deal. So what made us decide on Real Awkward? Do you remember? Like,
Okay, so I remember we were in the downstairs at my old house.
oh, okay.
And we had been talking about
Oh,
doing.
we were throwing names out,
Yes,
weren't we? That's
We'd
right.
been talking about doing a podcast for a long time. I think just because people were sick of hearing us talk about movies all day.
Sure. We were
And
like, we
so-
gotta talk about it
and,
somehow.
and you and I had been throwing it back and forth about like, yeah, we'll do it. We got to do it. We got to do it.
oh,
you know.
it was probably a year or so.
Oh, for a long time.
yeah.
And finally, like, you guys came over because I think we were going to play VR. or
That's
some
what we were
stupid shit.
doing. Yep.
And Andy, you were very like, let's do it.
Yeah, it was like legit. Let's do the podcast. Like, fuck it. Like, what's
And I
gonna
was like-
happen?
and I
It
was just
fails.
like,
It fails.
I'm down. And then,
Right.
then it was, well, we have to come up with a name.
right.
And I remember because we'd agreed it was just going to be pop culture in general, movies, games, whatever we want to do.
what we were into. Yep.
And
Yep.
I know we've kind of feathered out from that a little bit.
Sure.
But at its core, it was like movies and games.
Right.
And it was like pop culture. And so it was like, okay, what's the title? And then I think I threw out, I came up with Real Awkward. And then I was like, real with 2 E's.
Yeah. You were just. It's like mind blown. Like
and,
what?
And I think I remember it was very just like,
yeah. You know that feeling. Y'all look at each other. You're like,
Yeah.
that's the
And
one.
I was like-
Yep.
Once we hit that, it was like nothing else came out.
I was like, fucking
Yep.
nailed it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing else worked. And it's funny. So CJR, have you seen CJR stuff? He's a YouTuber,
I
like
don't know
video
who that
game.
is.
So anyway, he's the one that told me to do Buzzsprout. Like,
Oh.
it RSS feeds out to all the other podcasts,
Which
and it's
is
a great,
incredibly convenient.
it's a great one. You pay monthly on it, whatever. But I sent him the name and the logo because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"What do you think?" And he was like, "That is the coolest fucking name for a podcast like I've
I
ever
tell
heard." He was like,
people-
"This is awesome."
I tell people and they're like, oh, that's great.
Yeah. He was like, dude, that's a dope name. Like, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, cool, thanks. Like, and it got, this
The-
guy's got 100,000 subs on
The only
YouTube.
problem is people look up Real Awkward.
Oh,
and
they
it's
do-
REAL.
yeah,
and they're
they-
like,
Yeah.
I can't find
I know,
you.
they probably do it wrong all the time, and we're sorry, but if you do that, you're too dumb to listen to this podcast.
Well, and I tell people, and I'll go, it's Real Awkward, real with 2 E's.
Yep, I have to say that too, and it sucks because I feel like I'm bougie. I'm like, it's with 2 E's, just like Ashley's name. She has to do that to other people.
Mm-hmm.
My name's with 2 E's. Okay, thanks. So what's funny about the podcast is Amanda and I started this goddamn thing in my game room, and we started this as a video.
Oh, yeah, it was like
podcast.
a video news broadcast.
It was like it was like a podcast. I had 3 TVs set up on the back wall. I'd put our logo up on it, and I'd play games or movies or
Mm-hmm.
something on the back right while we do it. So here's a little insight, Kay. If you guys don't know, Amanda and I, okay, we're not like models, and so fucking
speak for
Yeah,
yourself.
right. So anyway, YouTube, for whatever reason, nobody watched that shit.
Okay,
Like, I mean, it was rough. Right?
It was very just like, it was so different than what we're doing now
Right.
that I haven't watched those in a really long time. And
Yeah.
part of me is like, let's
Just
go.
let them go.
But honestly,
If you guys
like,
want to, you can go see us. We're on YouTube, Real Awkward. We've got a YouTube channel. We've got about, I think, 10 episodes that we're live on, and then the rest of them were audio only. But we did it. we'd have a beer, some drinks and stuff as we were chatting back and forth.
And it was then that we decided we were going to do more than one episode. We were going
Right.
to record more than one episode. So Amanda would bring multiple t-shirts.
I
Yeah.
would bring an extra
And
shirt.
she would just swap it out.
Yep,
She's
I
like,
would go
"Okay."
change real fast into
Yeah.
something, dumb. We did a New Year's episode. I'm wearing the tiniest coat ever.
And then our
Like,
Christmas
yeah.
episode, we're both in sweaters, and it was 80
Oh,
million
it was
degrees
so
in
hot.
here.
And we didn't have air conditioning
No.
then, and we're just roasting. It's sweaty. It's
Yeah,
gross.
we're both just in these sweaters and with all these lights on,
Dude,
just
what-
dying.
So it's funny. So I have a video background, and I was editing the podcast.
Andy went to film.
I went to
school.
film school, worst film school ever. But so I'm working on the podcast, and there was dude, there's some funny moments too, because Amanda had this laugh that I kept repeating while I was editing. I don't know where it came from, but your laugh was like,
Oh God.
or something like that. And then I also spilled a drink,
Oh yeah.
and when I spill the drink, you can see the soul leave my body as I'm dropping the drink, and I just replayed that back and forth 1,000 times, laughing while I was
there
editing.
very much. It was
Yeah.
like,
But the problem with doing video and audio separately, because you want to try to grab good audio, the best that you
Yeah.
can, right? You got to sync it up. And that always took a while, was to sync everything up, and then the video was an hour long.
yeah.
So I would have to render that video, and that video would take it's not even a crappy computer, but it would take 3 hours to render the video.
Well, and
4
honestly,
hours.
I
Yeah.
remember the camera would stop recording after a
Yep.
certain amount
It
of time.
only
Yeah.
did a
30
30-minute
minutes.
record, so Ash would come in and have to run over the camera and redo it, and then I would have to sync those
Yeah.
because it would split in the middle, and then I'd lose chunks
Uh-huh.
or bits
Yeah.
of what we were talking about. So needless to say, the YouTube thing just kind of dissipated. It was
Because
okay,
it wasn't easy.
we're not making any money off of it, right? So there's no financial gain for it. It's just
No.
for fun. But then imagine doing that work, and then also on top of that, not getting any views or any audience or anybody. So sweet, but our parents and our friends listened to it, and they gave us some pity stuff for 10 episodes or so, and then they fell off. And so
Well, and for me, it was never about getting views or whatever. It was just doing stuff with my friends. But it was hard when it was like, you're doing all this work and we're doing all this stuff. And it was like, okay, well, nobody's liking this.
right.
Nobody's watching this.
Well, and I mean, some people did like it. We had people that were like, I enjoy your stuff. We had one girl, and she was a fan immediately, and she disappeared when we stopped doing video.
yeah.
And so I do think that there's some people that may have enjoyed that side of it. But in the long run, it didn't help us, and it didn't give, especially me, I didn't have any rejuvenated energy because I was doing that and Pac-Man case at the same time.
Well, and that's the thing is,
So-
it became more of a chore and less fun.
Right. And I
And-
didn't want that to be the case. I wanted things to feel more free-flowy and
Well,
us
and-
enjoying what we're doing.
I remember that's where I was at was when we were talking about it one day. You were telling me how hard it was, and I just remember being like, well, if it's not fun, let's stop doing that.
Sure.
If it's
right.
easier to just do audio,
Right.
let's go audio.
And in the time that we started that video stuff, Ash wasn't part of the podcast. She was recording for us for the first couple episodes, and then she started throwing stuff out. Episode 3 or maybe 2.
Well, there was, I think it was our first street cred.
our rock,
The
We
Rock.
did
episode,
the rock.
yeah,
And I was reading from IMDb, but you couldn't really hear me.
right. Which is funny because I just reposted that one, so you
Yeah.
must sound really quiet.
Well,
on
I
that
think
episode.
you knocked it up a
'Cause
lot.
you
And
can
you
hear
can
it,
also
yeah.
hear us. We'll be like, what's the next one, Ash? And then
Oh,
we'll ask, and then we'll go,
repeat it.
oh, Jumanji.
Yeah,
Like, we'll
right.
say it.
So I remember Billy was watching an episode, and he said in a comment or something, he's like, "You guys need to get Ash a mic."
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was the
Billy,
moment.
longtime
that, yep.
listener, original sponsor of the show.
Yep, and also on an episode, you guys can check Billy out
Yeah,
on our Anime 101
yeah.
episodes, and another one. He did too.
Mascots.
Mascots, that's right.
No, Billy was, I think, our first guest, right?
Yep, Billy was our first
Um,
guest on the
so-
podcast.
No, that was great.
So that was the history of Ash joining the show, though, because once she had a mic, she was always pretty much in the producer role, though. Like, she would help us get the light set up, make sure things were good, make sure the camera was ready. But she didn't really start topics until this last year for us. We would always kind of decide what we wanted to do, but now she's really jumped into kind of the direction that the show should go or what we're going to do during the day.
Yeah, well, I figured I should do something instead of just show up.
Well, so yeah. Well, I mean, Amanda ran the social media for the most part. I would do all of the editing, production work, and then Ash would do the producing of the show and getting it kind of off the ground. But it was so much nicer when we moved to audio. I don't know why, but we could relax more.
Yeah.
I
Like-
know for myself, I felt more comfortable with the camera not being in my face.
Sure, because you felt like you had to be on more than you.
Yes.
Well, and then it was also like you guys wanted to talk to each other, but then you also want to talk to your audience. So
Right.
like you never knew quite where to look.
Yeah, we found ourselves a little confused, I think, on
So
that
I think
part of it.
without that, you guys can look at each other and really like have a conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Well,
I
and
agree.
I've always really liked our show because I've always felt like it's just a couple friends having a conversation about
Yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I've always wanted to do with this.
Well, that's where I love maybe part of Real Awkward's charm compared to other podcasts. Other podcasts kind of have a direction of where they want to of where they want to go.
We have no direction.
That was
We
not
don't
a
have a
dig
fucking
on our
clue.
Completely
podcast.
directionless. We
But-
just jump on the mic.
But I have had many people say, "Dude, I feel like I'm just in the room with you guys as you're chatting about a topic that we would around friends with some beers."
Yes.
And like you have some podcasts that are like that, but not often.
Yeah.
Like you have they're informational or they're very driven by a certain narrative or they want to go
One
somewhere.
person's telling a story to another person.
I do think though that the dynamic of snagging Ashley on and having
Snagging me on.
yeah, and having Amanda and I, basically polar opposite of being able to chat about stuff. And our views aren't opposite, but just in general, like our dynamic, I think it worked. Like somehow it just kind of works. It's also, this is my personal opinion. I always like when there's a mix of like male and female, like
Yeah.
on a podcast versus all female or all male. I don't know if it's just the juxtaposition of voices or like the way.
I just think I think that
things
while
are,
we
but-
both are interested in movies and games and stuff, we have
Right.
different opinions about a lot of
Sure.
stuff. So I think that it works in that aspect, and then, we might watch the same movie and take something different out of it.
Yeah,
So-
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think when the podcast kind of got off the ground was there like a first episode that was like, okay, people are digging this. Do you remember anything that kind of hit and it
Our
was like,
Mandela
okay,
Effect episode, I think, was the first one to
get a little traction?
and by traction I mean it had 25.
Yeah. But I mean, we're talking like imagine having like 5 to 7 listeners all the time and then all of a sudden you get 25.
Yeah, I feel
Right.
like that was one of the first ones.
Yeah.
I think you're right. You're right.
But then I feel like once we moved to audio only and we just stopped putting effort into YouTube. I
Right.
feel like
Right.
we stopped putting effort into YouTube and we started doing Buzzsprout
Yep.
and then I was just working on getting us on every platform.
Well, and we weren't really pushing the social media as hard in the beginning, right? Like we would post what the episode was, but we weren't posting additional content,
No.
right?
And there even was a time where we were trying to post very frequently.
Yeah.
And it was just exhausting.
It just faltered. It was like we were trying to do it daily, right?
Well, and then we were looking for content.
Well, Ash came up with like a Monday was food day and Tuesday was fun
Right.
day or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but there is something to be said when you're trying to stay relevant, right? Put yourself out there and have yourself be consistent. You do get burnt out.
Yeah.
You get burnt out because I got burnt out from the video side. Then you guys shortly got burnt out thereafter from the social media side.
It's
Well-
hard. And like I applaud Amanda for doing
Sticking
the social
with
media
it still,
because
yeah.
I mean I was helping her out initially, and then after I had Remy, I just kind of stopped doing it.
Yeah, you got
but
busy.
I can say from what experience I had, it is a freaking hard
It's a
thing to
job.
find content.
Yes.
What's crazy too is that people from the outside, they're like, "What? You have to post a picture and write some words. It's not that hard." But it's like it is hard.
Well, it's
Yeah.
hard when it's
you want
like
to stay original and
and it's hard when I'm trying to. So basically, I try to post 3 times a week, right?
right.
One for a new episode,
Yep.
and then 2 other times a week.
Right.
Just because I started doing it at some point, and it just looks nice.
Yeah, you got to keep the
Now,
aesthetic of the
I'm like,
Instagram.
fuck. But the
Gotta
problem
keep the
is,
profile
I
up.
don't ever want to get to a point where I'm just churning shit out.
Well, and that's just it.
Yeah.
So for me, this happened recently. I stopped doing YouTube for a little bit. I got burnt out. I felt like I was just churning stuff out just to do it. I wasn't doing it because I was happy and I was enjoying it anymore. And I got into a huge depression. And to be honest, this podcast kept me afloat. Like, I enjoyed the friendship and us speak. You know, I'm a huge fan of nostalgia. I love it. But like, having that interaction was great. YouTube, on the other side, you don't talk to anybody other than text, right? It's a message back and forth. And so having like an actual conversation is just, it means so much more. So I understand, like, it's really easy to let it engulf you to a point where, like, if you truly have realized you're not getting anything out of it anymore, you don't have to quit, but you do have to take a step back and breathe a little bit and wonder, like, okay, how can I come back at this a more healthy way? How can I come back at this in more of a better way? And I feel like somehow the podcast has not ever felt that way. The podcast is never, to me, and I'm not talking about social media or the YouTube, I'm talking about just us doing this, has never been, we're recording, and I'm like, I do not want to do this tonight.
Well, I think it's also because we're parents and we all work and life.
Sure.
I think, we record, we try to record weekly, and if something is happening in our lives, we just skip a week.
Sure.
And so every so often we get a break, or we just had a holiday and I moved, so we took 2 weeks off.
Right.
So then we got to a point where it was like, okay, I'm ready again.
I can legit say that when we don't do the podcast, I miss it.
Yeah, Ash gets depressed a little bit.
If we miss 1 week, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
like, we'll do it.
Yeah.
But when we miss 2 weeks, it's like, dang, I want to
I miss the
get together and
podcast.
chat.
Yeah.
I think it's been nice because it's, like when we started it, my life was in a very different place than it is now.
Right.
And it was kind of my little sanctuary away, that this was my time.
And honestly,
Sure.
this was probably the best thing about 2020.
Yes.
Like, we continued
yeah.
to do this against the rules.
This is true, and I never really thought about that, but we were like,
Well, I feel like
we did exchange breath in a household.
Well, and I mean, the plan was, so I was pregnant in 2020.
Right.
And so we decided we were just going to churn them out so that when we had the baby and we couldn't record for several weeks,
Right.
that we would have enough content to keep going at this once a week pace.
Yeah.
So we churned them out in 2020.
Yeah, we did. And what's crazy is if we go back, imagine like 20 years from now, you can go back and we literally, at least within snippets of the clips, probably chronicle what shit was like during the COVID nightmare.
Yeah, well,
of 2020 is
because
nuts.
we had one of our first episodes where we were audio only
Yeah.
was right when the lockdown was happening. Because
Right.
It was the
What
virus
to
vacation.
what to binge watch.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Virus
because
vacation.
It's right when I think I was still working at that point, but it was right when the pandemic was kind of ramping up, and we were talking about, like, you're about to get stuck at home for a while. Here's what you should watch and play. And I think it also, that was, I feel like, one of the helping factors of why we did audio only, because we were able to be a little bit more separate when we were recording.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And
Yeah,
we
right.
didn't have
right.
to sit at a table
Yeah, Amanda and I
together.
didn't have to be next to each other.
Yeah.
Well, we were able to be separate.
To feel safe. Yeah, we felt safe, and we didn't know what was going on. We were the exact same way as everyone else. We're like, we didn't know how crazy the virus was.
No,
we
because
didn't
at that
know,
time,
like,
it's like, you're going to die.
Yeah. It was like, you leave the house, like, it's like a nuclear holocaust
Well, and
happened.
sometimes I very much felt like I'm sneaking over.
Yeah. Oh, Amanda, like the cops
how
are
it
watching,
felt.
and they're like,
Yeah.
did Amanda go over to the case's house? So, yeah, so if you guys didn't know, we do everything at Ash and I's house. And it was originally in the game room. We moved it over to our dining room table because it was just easier to get the mic set up. And it's funny that we're doing this 100th episode
In the game room.
because the baby wouldn't be quiet tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to kind of tone it down a little bit. But, it's funny. I would say that by no intention of our own, our podcast has developed into kind of a format that we don't realize we're doing, but we do it right? Like we've got our intros, we've got our subjects. We probably take some funny breaks back and forth that we don't realize we're doing, or we run off on tangents sometimes and go back and forth. But our podcast, and we've always been this way from the start, we want it to be 45 minutes. Like that meant a lot to us for it not to be like an hour and a half podcast or a 20-minute podcast.
Well, because we figured, like, what's a normal drive to or from work?
Right, for
Like,
most people's commute.
If if it's shorter than 45 minutes, you're probably not putting a podcast on.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
You might listen to some radio, throw some other things on.
Well, and Ashley and I can't speak exactly for you, Andy, but
No.
Ashley and I both listen to podcasts.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
were podcasters. I
And
did not listen to podcasts very often.
When we were originally starting this, kind of at least kind of come up with like a blueprint for how we wanted to do it.
Right.
We were talking about length of episodes, and Ashley and I were both kind of like, well, if it's over an hour, I probably won't listen to it.
Right.
And then we were-
Or you have to listen to it in 2 segments.
Yes.
Like I
Sure.
won't finish a podcast.
Right.
And so we were really trying to keep it around 45 minutes because it was like, that is a normal amount of time for an episode.
Well, and our podcasts aren't built to split up. Like you should start it and finish it within your same sitting. Like
Or I feel like our conversations aren't deep, heavy conversations where if you do need to finish the last 15 minutes later, you're not like, what the hell was happening? Like,
yeah.
what
It's
were they
light
talking
enough.
about again?
Yeah, and we also tried to be really smart. It's like we knew things that were going to boil people's blood was going to be if we talked about politics, especially during COVID, and if we talked about religion. And those are things I just want out of podcasts. Like when it
Yeah.
comes to like relating to people, you can relate to our human nature. We can talk about the shit that happens in our lives, but we don't need to be so divisive because the world is right now and
Well,
has been.
Very much for, I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
Between social media
Yeah.
and for me, work,
Right.
I don't want to talk about politics when I
Sure,
get here.
right.
I don't want to talk about what's going on because I get it all day long.
Yep.
I don't want to
Yep.
talk about it. Me being selfish, this is my time
Sure.
to hang out with my friends.
Right.
To like record a little thing together, have fun.
And be lighthearted.
and
Yeah.
have fun with my friends.
Right.
And so it's like I
Having
don't
fun with my friends, Mom.
I want to play with my friends, but it's like I don't need to talk about that.
Sure.
Like, you
Yeah.
know, and so I think that's one thing that I've always appreciated is that we're able to check it at the door.
Well, and that's just it. Is there's so many podcasts that probably lean on that though.
Yeah.
Right. It's like it's hot news. Like let's talk about BLM and social justice, and let's talk about
What dumb shit Trump did today,
transgender
like,
movements. Yeah. Let's talk about Orange Man bad. Let's talk about and they
Yeah.
just like and it would just be constantly on my social media platforms, my
Yes.
friends, like fucking every single day, just over and over again. And the podcast was literally a breath of fresh air.
And
And I hope for a lot of people. I hope a lot of people are
Yes.
like, dude, I get to go on this podcast with these guys. I don't have to listen to that shit. They don't bring it up. They don't have to talk about it. You know,
Yeah.
I 100% feel that some of the growth probably came from that too.
I have to mention too that we really appreciate when there's interaction from our listeners.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
yeah.
when people comment on our Instagram post
Right.
or they send us a message
Yep.
or any kind of interaction, like we eat it up. We love it
Yes.
because
and appreciate it.
Yeah.
honestly, guys, it's us doing it. When you send us a message, when you send us a comment, it's one of the three of us responding back to
Yeah.
you.
Real Awkward doesn't
do
have
not-
like 100-man production team.
Definitely not. We
Yeah.
do not have a social media manager.
Right.
It's one of us.
Yeah. Amanda.
And so it's not always me, but like if you liked our episode or if you wanted to comment about it,
Right.
you know, engage in a dialogue with us, you are talking to us.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so
100%.
a lot of bigger podcasts have someone doing their social media and they'll never get that message or whatever, but
Yep.
not us. Like
Yep.
we do it.
I even know friends, they do the YouTube thing, but they don't manage their social media. And I'll send a message thinking I'm sending it to that person,
Yeah.
and it's like some other dude,
Yeah.
and it never gets back to them or whatever, right?
No, it's us.
Yeah.
And so when you guys do or even the the stories, the polls or the questions we'll ask in our stories, we ask them, and I love it when you guys comment on that
Yeah,
stuff.
me
because
too.
It's fun.
Yep.
And so no, I mean that it's us. Like we very much like we do all this ourselves. Like without Andy, we would not have the episodes. Like and it's us. So I appreciate it when people interact with us like
Well,
that.
and without you guys and that interaction, we wouldn't have the episodes and how hard you guys work to promote our stuff. I mean, to be honest, we lucked out this year. We freaking, I don't know if it was last year. No, it was this year. We got our first sponsor.
yeah.
Like, shout out to Mark, who runs Geek Guilt, and he runs
Yes.
Smash Brothers Gaming on his Instagram, and he's got like 20,000 followers, right? Like, way more than we ever have gotten on our Instagram.
Yeah.
And he literally gave us a shot, like gave us an opportunity to promote his stuff, and has been like one of the best sponsors anybody can have. Like, ran we've ran ads that were super fun to make for him.
Yeah.
We've done Halloween spots. We've done our most recent Mario Bond
Yeah.
stuff.
He promotes giveaways too.
Yeah, he's got a fantastic
can throw up
giveaway
on
if
our
you guys
page.
haven't hit it. And we're not about slinging and promotion shit we don't agree with. And like, the most like humbling, cool natured dude ever.
Yeah,
And so,
good people.
like, can you imagine, having a shitty sponsor like Mattress Firm, and us having to like,
I
be like,
love my mattress.
Amanda, have you had bad sleep tonight?
And I'd be like, yeah, bitch. So
Every night.
yeah, every night.
Fired.
Well,
Weird.
try a firm
So-
mattress from Mattress Firm. That will be comfortable.
It's nice because I remember when we started this, like we talked briefly about it, but it was like, if we ever got a sponsor, I don't know if we ever
Yeah.
we wouldn't.
Right?
But like if we ever did, we were very much like, we don't want to do something that we don't believe in.
Sure.
That we don't
yeah.
like.
100%.
And I'm thankful that we're currently working with somebody who is cool.
No, and it's like, it's everything that our podcast's about, man. Like, geek and nerds nostalgia.
Yeah.
All sold as products and stuff. And so it's been a wild ride to go down that side of things, and to see a podcast get successful. You go from tens to hundreds to thousands of views, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like listens. People did not want to view our face. That's for sure.
They did not. Except for Reed.
Funny enough, well,
Reed wanted to watch it.
Reed. Shout out to one of our friends, Reed. He was like, "I miss your guys' faces," and I'm like, "I totally get it." But then
Well, move back to Washington.
then
Reed,
you come do
okay?
the production and film everything, and then
Yeah,
post it for us.
come up here.
Then you can
film
be
our
fine.
video.
But yeah, so I mean, that whirlwind has been crazy, and then somehow, middle of this year, something like that, things just started like exploding.
Yeah.
But
I
I'm just
don't-
saying, like, with exponential growth, which means that you're just having new listens. And so Ash does this a lot. She says, I look at stats. She tells me daily.
I probably look at them more than
Yeah,
Andy
she-
now.
It's-
yeah.
okay, I will
daily
say,
what's going on with the podcast.
I'm not a person who counts how many followers we have on Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't care.
That's never been
Yeah,
Amanda.
I
don't care.
Yeah, that's never been Amanda.
I don't care about it. And
She
but
says she doesn't care about it, but then when we tell her a number, she's like, ooh, that's nice.
that's what it is. I don't obsess about it because what am I going to do?
Well, and the only reason that it matters is it's the only way to gauge whether what you're talking about is important to anybody.
And-
Or whether, even if you don't care about it being important, like, does it strike home? Is it even topics that are really interesting? Or are we just babbling to babble?
Well, and that's
Like,
my
I don't
thing
know.
is like I don't really care about views and listens and stuff. But when Ashley will tell me like, oh, we just passed 4,000. Oh, we just passed 5,000. Like, have you seen how many we've had this week? And I'll go on. I'll be like, oh shit. Like,
right.
oh damn.
I mean, honestly, as the quote unquote producer, as Andy calls me, I don't even know what that
She doesn't
means.
accept it.
I do now choose what episodes we record,
Right.
the topics.
Right.
So it's important for me to look at the stats and see what's doing well,
yeah.
Sure.
so I know what not to do. Like
Right.
our rankums,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Nobody
throw
likes
them in the
us.
trash.
I was going to say, we've had some stinkers on episodes, and we've had some bangers.
Ghost in Social Media was a good episode, okay?
There was some stuff that was like, why are we putting these two flavors together? This doesn't make any sense to us.
Yeah.
But so little insight into like how we come up for an episode. When we first started, we snagged a sheet of paper and we just tried to write down any topic that we felt was going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And we held on to that sheet of paper for a long time. It was like I ripped it out wrong, so it had like this huge like crescent like tear down
Well,
it.
I had a
think
list in my phone. Of
yeah,
ideas
Amanda had a
and-
list. And we just kept going through things like what interests us. When you want to listen to a podcast, what do you want to listen about? What do you want to hear about?
Yeah.
And we just started hitting things, and there was some stuff awesome, and other times it was like, wow. Not only did we not know what we were talking about in that entire episode, but the views or the listens show that nobody else cared about that topic.
No, nobody gives a shit about how we celebrated Halloween.
Well, and then sometimes
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
did we title it poorly?
Yeah,
like, do we
right.
need different hashtags?
Uh-huh.
I'll be on. Sometimes there's episodes where like I'll pick it out, or Andy will suggest it, and then
Yeah.
Amanda's like, I don't
Right.
know. But then there's a lot of times where we feel that way, where we're like uncertain about it, and then we record it, and we're like, that
A
felt
great,
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
fun
that was
episode.
good.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you've had a healthy conversation when all you did was just laugh and have a good time.
Yeah.
During
yeah.
during the podcast. But yeah, there's series that we started. Like we didn't start out to make series, but now we've got
No.
a 101 series.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a street cred series, and our street creds do phenomenal. People love learning about the actors, learning about their origins, and then going back through a filmography where you either learn about movies you didn't know or you enjoy them just as we did and we get to talk about it.
I'm sure there's
Yeah.
people out there who listen to them and then like go and watch people's movies, because
Yeah.
I do it.
Yep.
After we record them, I'll be like, oh, let me check Netflix and see what this actor has, because now I know about a bunch of these movies
Right.
that I'm interested in.
After we do them, I usually end up watching at least one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Cool.
I'll be like, oh, I never watched that one,
Right.
or
Yeah.
like, oh, I gotta watch that one again. Like,
Yeah,
I always
this-
end up
Yeah.
going back.
The street creds, and we started out, our very first street cred was Rock, which we reissued recently.
Yes.
And from that point on, we just kind of picked people, like actors that we like. And then one day, Ash and I, we had this brilliant idea. And we're like, you know who would be a great street cred to go down? John Goodman. And like we surprised Amanda thinking she'd be like, that's a great idea. And we go, John Goodman, Amanda. And she's like, guys, I don't think he's done a whole lot. No. He's in everything, right? We loved him. We loved him in
So many good movies.
Yeah, right. And then we start doing the street cred, and we start to realize real quick, wow, we had no idea that he was only a side character in like 100 different movies.
Yeah, he has a lot of film credits.
And then I pushed one that I wanted super bad. I was like, ladies, come on. This will be the best actor ever. Like, he's so popular. You're going to love him. Brad Pitt. And then what happens with Brad Pitt? We go through the filmography. I'm like, never heard it, never heard it, never heard it, never heard it, never heard it. And I'm like, how in the world do I love Brad Pitt and other people enjoy his movies? And I've only seen like 6.
You just think he's beautiful.
Well, he is a beautiful man.
Wait, so you're giving spoilers?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. 100th
Well,
episode, you get the behind the scenes of what's
as far
going
as I'm
on.
concerned, we could dump the John
Okay,
Goodman
John Goodman's
episode.
going in the trash.
Yeah,
I love
sorry.
you, John Goodman.
Listen, guys.
Here's what's going to happen. Sign up for our Patreon to get the John Goodman episode. Do we have a Patreon? Find out.
So here's
Stay
the deal.
tuned.
We're talking about this right now, right? Because the one thing we never want to be is we never want to come off as like money grubbing or people that care about what's it called? Oh, pay to win content, basically, right?
Yeah.
Like DLC. That's not
Hey to
us.
John Goodman.
Yeah, but what we do want to do is we want to make
I'm
sure
doing
pay to John Goodman. That's what we should call the tier. What we do want to do is we want to start
John Goodman, the Brad Pitt.
you get
Dwayne
these
The Rock
episodes that
Johnson.
don't ever work. What we want to do, though, is we want to be able to up the quality of the podcast. We want better mics so we don't have any feedback going on. We need stuff that helps us record and mix. We know that Amanda and I have decently loud voices, but Ashley's pretty quiet.
I am
Or
talking- I am
Ashley's
silent.
too loud and I need to bring her levels down. We don't have a mixer or anything, right? So there's some things that we'd really like to upgrade to the podcast. And if you want to support the show, we feel that that's a good way to do it, is to start a Patreon. So,
If you want to help Ashley find her voice,
yeah, help Ashley find her
In the
voice.
arms of the angel.
And we're
For
not
just
going...
$1 a day.
Yeah.
You can get a picture
$1
of
a day. What's just
of a
crazy is
sad
that's
child.
$30 a month.
$65 a year.
That's
I
a
don't
lot.
fucking
That's a
know.
lot for a podcast of
I
John
don't even
Goodman.
pay that much for Microsoft
Here's
Office.
the deal.
Come on.
Here's the deal. Pay to John Goodman.
Pay to John Goodman.
$1 a month.
$1
You
a
get a
month.
picture of Ashley crying, and you get to hear the John Goodman episode.
Yeah. So,
Patreon figured it out.
well, we want to be able to provide some awesome things to our listeners because I know I talked about on the podcast, like it feels like years ago, a shirt and some merchandise, and I would like to be
Oh, we
able to
should do that.
hand that stuff out to our Patreons. And so we
We
don't
have
want
stickers.
we have stickers
Here's what's
too.
gonna happen.
Yep.
Pay to John Goodman. Okay, Patreon exclusive. You sign up, you get a sticker.
You get a
I have
sticker.
stamps.
Freaking Amanda. But I do
We
know
have to title something.
I
Pay to
know
John
other
Goodman.
people that have done a Patreon and they're like, give us $10 of your hard-earned cash every month or pay
Or die.
$50 or something. It's like, Jesus,
Absolutely
dude,
not.
like no one needs to give you $500 a month for you to just
No.
talk on a couch. Like, and so for us
I mean,
to
you can if you want to.
for us, we're not thinking about doing any crazy tier. We were thinking about like $3 for people to join. You can be I've been trying to come up with some fun names like the real awkward riffraffs. Or the
I forgot you have headphones on.
Sorry, the real awkward John Goodmans.
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
So anyway, guys, we're gonna be rolling that thing out in January.
Dude, no. I got it.
What?
I got it.
What?
Our fans are called the Goodmans.
So dumb. So dumb. I was gonna have to do it now.
I don't
So-
know why.
Amanda's so pleased with herself.
I don't know why. I'm
But
also
literally,
so
there's
good.
episodes that these girls have told me to dump. By the way, that I think would be fantastic if it was exclusive content.
Okay. So
Oh, like the one where we just complain about our husbands the
shitting
entire
on
time?
me the entire episode. Yes.
the one where Andy's pissed off, and then it ends. He goes, "I feel like you guys were just."
I
criticizing
feel like
me the
I was
whole time."
attacked, ladies. Oh, they would love to hear that stuff.
I think
Here's
you
the deal.
legit deleted it.
I might have deleted it, but I'll have to look. Yeah.
See, Chris was talking to me, and he goes, "You guys have never had like a sex episode or like?"
No.
And I was like, "I don't talk about that. I don't talk about that."
We do one, and Amanda's just like,
It would just be Andy talking about
It
buttholes
was
all
just, yeah,
the
it was
time.
me, Andy being gross.
I'm just talking about buttholes the entire time. Rosebuds.
Ew. But like,
Ugh.
and that's the thing is,
Ugh.
like, the episodes that we don't air aren't because they get too raw. Okay, it's literally just
Yeah.
because we either talk about the same shit we
Yes.
talked about in previous episodes,
Yeah.
or
Andy likes to rehash a lot.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
not just me. At one point, Amanda and I would not stop talking about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, it was
like
bad.
like we were
It
on the
was bad.
fourth or fifth podcast
Multiple
episode,
times.
and,
And here you are talking about it again.
we were going down Sonic the
We're gonna
Hedgehog.
have to dump this
how
one,
bad
too.
it is, what they need to do, and we were like, oh my god, I can't play this one anymore, guys. All we do is talk about Sonic the Hedgehog
no,
again.
it was bad, you guys.
But yeah, so what was I talking about? Our series. So
Sonic the Hedgehog.
So we do the 101s, we do the street creds,
Oh,
and
right,
then
that's what
yeah,
we were talking
yeah,
about.
right. And then do we have another series that we do constantly?
I feel like we have an Amanda does a lot of random research on one topic series.
Yeah, Amanda does research on stuff, but I've done it, right?
No,
I've done.
I'm just playing around. I don't know.
I have a couple unreleased ones of my 101 stuff. You did a great one on Atlantis, to be honest. Some of that stuff's funny. Now, it's funny for you guys to listen to us because I'm assuming I don't know what you think is happening in this room, but it's funny to us because if Amanda, I, or Ashley do an episode where we're the one that's narrating it, or we did the research to explain that information, the other two people, they don't tend to communicate to us during that episode. They just smile or look at us the entire time
and just listen.
and just
intently.
listen. And it's because we care about what they're saying. But to us, to the person that's actually doing it, it just seems like our co-hosts don't care. And it gets really awkward in the room as you're trying to explain
It's
yourself.
Really awkward.
And
It's like giving
yeah.
a presentation in front of your class.
Yes, that's exactly how it feels. It's like, okay, I did my
And
essay.
I'm done.
And I have to read it out loud.
And then the episodes always end, and whoever does it goes, "Was that okay?"
yeah.
Was that okay?
Yeah, you guys okay with that one? Did
that was
work?
so bad. No, I liked it.
That's
Everyone
good.
was fucking silent.
we try our best to stay consistent. We do a couple episodes sometimes in a night, and we always have snacks in between the episodes. And there's been times where all of us, me included, but we'll just eat and we won't stop eating. And I'll try to record the podcast, and somebody has their mouth full of stuff. I'll look over at Ashley and ask her something. She'll be like,
I've never done that. I don't know what you're talking about.
lies all the time.
Well, you see, it's hard for me because we usually record on Sundays.
Yep.
Sunday is my Friday at work.
Yep.
It's the end of my week.
Yeah, you get to have 2 days off.
I have 3 days off, but I have Lincoln the whole time.
I have 3 days. Yeah, you have a
So
baby.
It's
Sorry.
it's very much like, and I'm not trying to sound all woe is me, but like Sundays are a very long day for
Yeah,
me.
because you're tired. I mean, the fact that Amanda has a lot of energy for you guys on this podcast, like,
So sometimes I don't.
Yeah, sometimes she's going down real fast. And I don't know if you guys can tell. Please send us a comment. Can you tell when Amanda's getting grumpy? Because I would really like to know. Because sometimes you can tell she's short and
Oh,
she like
yeah.
doesn't want to say anything more on the podcast, or she's like,
I can
okay, we're
tell-
done. Yeah,
I can tell when I hear them sometimes, and I'm just not as like.
yeah, right.
I get to a point where it's like, yeah, we're done. Like
There-
it's done.
It's tough too because we do this in our family household, and there's been times where we start a podcast, you guys hear Ashley, and then you don't hear her anymore because one of the kids goes ape shit. And Ash is upstairs trying to take care of them, and I can hear it in my headphones, and I can hear the kid like.
The hardest
freaking
part is
out.
when I have to exit in the middle
Yeah.
of an episode, and then I come back,
Yeah,
and you
right.
guys are like, "So what do you think, Ashley?" And I'm like,
I always like to give her shit. 'Cause
"Where are we at?"
You'll hear Ashley silent for half an hour, and then all of a sudden, I'll be like, "What do you think?" Ashley will be like, I don't know. Yeah.
I got nothing. I don't know.
So if you guys had to give me your favorite episode and your least favorite episodes, what would they be?
Oh,
It's
man.
so hard without looking at a list because I've
Yeah.
been looking at a list.
I'm gonna
But
go off-
humble brag. I just want to say, Get to Know Ashley has more listens than the Get to Know.
Yeah,
Amanda and
people want to
Andy.
know what's up with her. What's that about?
Well, that's my least favorite episode.
I love it.
I don't know. Okay, one of my favorite episodes is the man problem episode.
Oh my god, I
That
don't
one
know
was
why.
So funny.
I don't know why, but like maybe it's just the anecdotal, like what happens to me when I'm being weird. But like that episode still makes me laugh to listen to because I can relive those moments
Yes.
of me
I-
saying the stupid.
I love the
shit.
episodes. We're just like being silly and
Yeah,
riffing on
rolling with it.
Shit. Also, the how we know we're getting old. One.
I was just gonna say the We're Old
oh,
episode.
I need
love-
to.
that
I need
one
to
was
re-listen to
fun.
that one.
I
Yeah.
don't know, just any of the episodes where we're just laughing and stuff because it's also fun for me to listen to them because it's like almost like home movies.
Oh sure.
Because it's
Yep.
like I remember in my mind like what it looks like when we're all doing the episodes. and then
Right.
It's like I'm getting to relive fun times with my friends.
Yeah.
And
That makes
so
sense.
it's fun to like listen to these episodes again. But yeah, I don't know. As far as like least favorite, okay, it wasn't least favorite as in like I hated it.
Yeah.
But like when Stephanie was doing my tarot reading,
Oh, that was
I
hard for you.
So awkward.
Yeah, I actually had to cut and edit episode or pieces out of that one that just were silent, or it's like Amanda having like, you know, when you need to be in the moment for something, and so you need some of that personal time.
Oh yeah, Stephanie and I had like a personal conversation
Yeah.
while
Yep.
while the recorder was going. That it was like, yeah, we need to cut that out.
I've even had people send me messages, and they're like, "What did Amanda talk about? Like what?"
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. Like legit. Like they were like, I really wanted to know more about what was going on with Amanda in that episode.
That's when you need to go. Here's Amanda's Instagram.
Yeah.
You can ask
Hit her up.
yourself.
So yeah, I don't know. For me, I mean, the man problem's really. It was really good.
one was
like
so
that
funny.
one's a funny episode. To be honest, I know it was a little early, but like I kind of dug when we were able to do the food stuff. But we can't now because it's audio only. Like
like when I had the stupid chicken
Yeah,
sandwich.
we ate that stuff, or we tried, Billy's.
I would eat it again.
Billy's Ruby chocolate, but
Oh,
like,
right.
but you can't really. And we tried Peeps, and like, so this was all this stuff audio wise. It's fun, but you can't really explain that to anybody.
No, and Stephanie actually had a really good idea for an episode
Yeah.
where, she thinks that like because Andy likes applesauce on his pizza. 'Cause he
Oh
hasn't
yeah,
eaten. And so
I
she
sure
said that
am.
we should kind of all try each other's weird food.
yeah.
And I think it's such a good idea, but I think it would be better if we still did video.
Oh sure, and we could do that for like a special episode or something maybe. But I wouldn't go back to do video again.
No.
To be honest, not until this thing like went on like a radio station or something. There's no way.
Truthfully,
I wouldn't record it anymore.
I mean, at least as far as my opinion is, this isn't extra work.
Yeah,
Doing
sure.
the video was a lot of work.
It was to sync stuff up, get it posted, and you have to create a thumbnail for that too. But somehow I figured out the thumbnail a long time ago, and now it's easy for me to do. I can do it in like 5 seconds. But it used to take me like a half an hour, and I would try to find the right stuff, and I would piece it all together, and it would be, it was dumb. I didn't like it.
No,
didn't
honestly,
like
I feel like the way we're doing it is obviously working.
Yeah. No,
And-
I enjoy it. I hope people that are listening right now, you guys enjoy it. We are super thankful that you guys have come and joined the Real Awkward family. As cliche as that sounds, we legit enjoy all your interactions. It's been awesome doing this podcast with Amanda and Ash, and I hope we just keep doing it. Keep
Yeah,
it
man.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any final words on our 100th episode? Where do you guys want to take this thing? What do we do next? Do an episode on the moon?
Sure.
They're
No.
so tired.
I think we should. Okay, so we have the Real Awkward stickers.
Yep.
I think we should make Barbara Brown stickers.
Oh, Barbara Brown stickers for sure. If you guys don't know
Get those
Barbara
stickers
Brown,
tattooed on. That's what we do.
Barbara Brown.
Barbara Brown.
Ash, any last words?
No.
All
Do
right.
you have a least favorite episode?
Oh yeah.
I was looking. I don't know. I don't want to dog any of our episodes
thing,
because
like-
everyone needs to listen to all of them. Maybe
We-
Death of Malls.
Oh, there was
Oh.
some. There was some stuff that was just like wah wah, like, and other people
Well, and it
didn't
was-
care.
There's
yeah.
somewhere it was very much like we had an idea.
Yep.
And it was like, oh yeah, I went to the mall. Let's talk about the mall. And then
Do you
like,
guys know what our least listened to episode is?
Oh. Is it a street cred?
No.
Oh, it's
I'm
it's
gonna say Turkey Day.
No.
no, it's one of the stupid ones
That's
that
close
we did.
though. That one's like number 5.
Yeah. No, it's one of the ones we did with the Rankums.
Oh,
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
It's not a Rankum?
Nope.
What is it?
Road rage.
Really? People, it's so funny because you would think people listen to podcasts on the road and this would be
Really?
one that you'd hit.
I
But
don't
maybe
even
not.
remember that episode.
Yeah, we got to
Oh,
re-listen
and
No,
to
that's
I don't
that
either.
guys,
one.
you guys, this is a problem. Sometimes we will record, and then Andy will reference stuff from like a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, she's like, what?
I
We
don't
didn't do
know.
Andy. Yeah, well, there was an episode, and Amanda's like,
What?
guys, we should do that. It would be really
What
cool.
was it?
And I'm like, Amanda, we did that episode. She's like, nuh-uh. What
Shit.
are you talking about?
I wish I could
And then I had
remember.
to tell her, and she was like, oh my God.
You guys need to understand. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, she's pretty tired at the end of the day.
And you know, I'm just trying to get through the day, but like, shit, I wish I could remember what it was.
Yeah.
Andy was talking about something, and I was like, guys, we should totally do an episode on that. And
Wasn't it
Andy's
social
just like,
media? And you were like, what?
No.
Was it ghosts?
No, I think it was something to do with movies or games. Or something. And Andy was like, no, we literally. have
Oh,
done
it
an
was.
episode
It was
on
like sequels or something.
Something.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I was just like, no, we
yeah, she's
didn't.
like, no.
And he's like, yes.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, guys, it's been an awesome 2 years. 100 episodes.
Whoop whoop.
Go Real Awkward.
This is the time for me to say I'm quitting the band.
And Amanda's out. We're gonna start a new one called Real Awkward Podcast. REAL.
Oh God.
You guys can listen to us there.
Well, I'm gonna go start my John Goodman podcast by myself.
John Goodman.
My
only.
John Goodman corn podcast by myself.
Everything John Goodman. Guys, thank you for listening to the Real Awkward Podcast. Catch us on the next entertaining episode later.
Yeah. So,
Oh yeah, Amanda, where can people find?
God,
100
I'm-
episodes in, he
the
still
one-
can't figure
the
it out.
One time I'm prepared. The one time.
This is the best part. At the end of every episode, I always ask Amanda, where can people find us? She said it 100 times.
I'm like,
and
oh,
she
oh,
always
oh,
goes,
oh, oh,
"Oh,
oh,
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 oh, oh."
Fuck.
And she's like, oh, Instagram.
So Twitter we don't use.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal. If you
Here's
like
the
our
deal.
show, send it to your mom.
Not your mom.
Not your mom.
Send it to your mom.
Not my mom.
Why not?
My
For the
mom
love of God,
does not
Not
like the
your
show.
mom.
Send the 100th
Their
episode.
mom.
No way, dude, because Ash's mom used to listen to, doesn't anymore. My mom used to listen to, doesn't anymore. So
My mom
we know
listened,
this episode
told me she didn't like it.
this episode is not for moms.
No.
Sorry, this podcast is not for moms.
No.
Kid tested, mother not approved.
Not mother approved. Check out our Instagram at Real Awkward Podcast. Go hang out with us over there.
Hit
And
up
that's-
Geek Guilt.
Oh yeah, hit up geekguild.com.
Geekguilt.com. Pick up some sweet nostalgia swag.
They have some great stuff over there.
They got
and
some
then-
slime controllers going on right now too.
Yeah.
They're epic.
And then yeah, dude, that's all I got. I was gonna say something else, but I forgot it. So there you go.
Okay. As always,
That's all I got. Bye-bye.
happy Thanksgiving. No, I'm just kidding.
fuck?
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day.
Depends when this episode goes up.
Whenever. I don't know when I'm going to post this. New Year's, 4th of July.
Wow. What's happening?
This is crash and burn.
All right,
Yeah.
guys. Now can I say bye?
Just end it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I don't ever say it.
Never. Every time. Talk,
Get outta
guys.
here.
Bye.